If there's anything uglier in politics than watching laws get made, it's watching laws about who gets to make the laws being made, or as we call it, redistricting. It's the most political exercise that happens in America, and it's happening right now. But it matters. So let's talk about what redistricting is, why it happens, and why it matters to you. It all starts with another complicated process called reapportionment. Every 10 years, the US Census Bureau counts how many people live in the United States. That count determines how many members each state gets to send to the House of Representatives. The bigger the state, the more members it sends. After each census, the Commerce Department has to do some complicated math to determine how many seats each state gets. First, each state gets one representative, so that's the first 50 seats. Then they use something called the Huntington Hill formula to allocate the next 385 seats based on each state's population. Population changes mean that every decade, some states lose seats. New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania have been on long losing streaks lately, and other states gain seats. This time around, Texas will add 2 seats, and states like Florida, Montana, and Oregon all added 1. Once the Commerce Department reallocates all those seats, we get to the redistricting process. That's when states themselves get to redraw lines to account for population shifts within their own borders. There aren't a lot of rules governing exactly how the maps are drawn, but in general, legislators and commissions try to draw boundary lines that lump similar communities together, provide voting districts that account for minority populations, and generally make logical sense. But here's where the politics get turned up to 11. Past election results show how people in certain precincts or certain census tracts tend to vote. So politicians can draw lines that they are fairly confident will result in districts that are safe for one side or the other. Sometimes the exercise of drawing districts to favor one side or the other can get a little out of hand, like when one party draws districts in a way that guarantee they'll win an overwhelming majority of the state's congressional or legislative seats. This year, Republicans in Ohio are considering a plan that would probably give them 13 of the state's 15 seats in Congress, even though Democrats won about 42% of the vote in the 2020 elections there. Democrats in Oregon passed a plan that would give them an advantage in 5 of the 6 U.S. House districts, even though Donald Trump won 40% of the vote there. When the majority party uses their power to protect themselves at the expense of the minority party, their opponents call the resulting map gerrymandering. It's an exercise in political power that goes all the way back to the nation's founding. At the end of the day, redistricting seems like this exercise in nerdy politics conducted behind closed doors in smoke-filled rooms, but it really matters. It'll determine the shape of the U.S. House of Representatives and state legislatures that decide the path we take for the next decade.